We are very glad to have you join us this evening on Rwanda Television News. My name is Sam Kadisa.
And mine is Martina Avera.
How are you, Martina?
I'm very good. How are you doing today?
Very great.
All right. President Paul Kagame has held a phone conversation with His Majesty King Charles III and expressed his condolences following the passing of the King's mother, Queen Elizabeth II. The Rwandan head of state, who is currently the chair in office of the Commonwealth of Nations, told the British monarch that he looks forward to working together to move the Commonwealth agenda forward in service of all the association's citizens.
And moving ahead to other matters, the First Lady of the Republic of Rwanda, Her Excellency Jeannette Kagame, says that in order to bring about change in the economy and social life of people, it must be based on the development of the youth. She pointed out this during her speech on the reconstruction of Rwanda after the genocide against the Tutsi in the Partnering for Change conference taking place in Sweden. Jen Mutoni filed this report.
Esteemed guests, the story of Rwanda.
In Sweden, the First Lady of the Republic of Rwanda, Her Excellency Jeannette Kagame, gave a speech highlighting the role of the Imbuto Foundation in the economic and social development of the people. She also spoke about how, after the genocide against the Tutsi in Rwanda, the journey to rebuild and heal the wounds of Rwandans was not easy because there were some who saw Rwanda as a country that would never exist again, a country torn apart by ethnic divisions, and those who lost confidence in health and other matters. Her Excellency Jeannette Kagame also revealed that the genocide against the Tutsi left an impact on the Rwandan community.
The more than 1 million victims we lost, many of which are still refused the decency of having their burial site shared with their families, the 500,000 of our women infected with HIV, often purposely as a result of rape, a weapon of war, 300,000 of our children killed and 100,000 orphaned during 100 days of murderous craze, the consequences of a leadership of such mediocre ambition that approximately 1,500 university graduates had been recorded over its 30 years of divisive governance.
Her Excellency Jeannette Kagame demonstrated the activities of the Imbuto Foundation, which she is the chief executive of, in bringing social and economic changes, especially to the youth. She pointed out that in order for these changes to be sustainable, it must start from empowering the youth.
For a longer life, to indeed lead to a better life, empowerment must begin from youth, as you very well know, reach for change. Indeed, tonight's event theme interweaves so aptly the relationship between the welfare of youth and socio-economic transformation, and this speaks to me, to us Rwandans personally, as 40% of our population is under 15 years old. Serving under this demographic structure, my foundation, Imbuto Foundation, has pushed for solutions to our particular challenges. At the foundation, we have enrolled 100,000 children into early childhood development centers. We provided 10,000 scholarships to brilliant secondary school students from financially disadvantaged backgrounds, awarded 5,113 young girls for their academic excellence. We facilitated 300,000 young people's access to adolescent sexual and reproductive health services, including HIV screening, placed hundreds of thousands of dollars directly into the hands of young Rwandan entrepreneurs across dozens of projects inspiring social change.
From 13 September, Her Excellency Jeannette Kagame has been on a working visit to Sweden. She participated in the Partnering for Change conference taking place for the 5th time. Her Excellency Jeannette Kagame also visited the Department of Pediatrics at the Karolinska University Hospital in Sweden, and she was explained to how it works, especially the support service provided to children through games, as she was accompanied by the ambassador of Rwanda in that country, Dr. Diana Gashumba, who is also an expert in pediatrics. Jane Musoni, RTV News.
Thank you, Jane, for that report. Now, earlier today, Prime Minister Dr. Edouard Ngirente represented President Paul Kagame at the swearing-in ceremony of João Lourenço, President of the Republic of Angola. Rwanda and Angola enjoy very good bilateral relations, and in July this year, both countries signed agreements that eliminate double taxation. Rwandans also do not need visas to travel to Angola.
And to other matters related to the economy, Rwanda's gross domestic product increased by 7.5% in the second quarter of 2022. The Ministry of Finance and Economic Planning says that the pace of economic growth is seen in the comparison of activities with stable prices, even though its stagnation affects the purchasing power of the population. We have more.
As revealed by the Ministry of Finance and Economic Planning and the National Institute of Statistics, the figures show that in the second quarter of this year, 2022, the country's gross domestic product reached 3,279 billion from 2,668 billion in the same quarter of last year, 2021. The service sector contributed 47%, agriculture contributed to 25%, and the industries contributed to 20%. In the first quarter of this year, the gross domestic product increased by 7.9%, and this quarter it reached 7%. The Minister of Finance and Economic Planning, Dr. Uzziel Ndagijimana, says that the fact that the economy is growing at the same time the standard of living is also changing, it should be understood that the economy is calculated on activities with fixed costs, even though when it changes greatly, the population is affected.
When we say the economy grew 7.5% from April to June, it is based on things that have had constant prices. But when it goes up too much, because your income doesn't change and you need to buy what you normally buy, that means one has to reduce what they would normally buy so that you can use the same amount. It affects purchasing power. It will be better if the economy would grow together with the one's income.
The production of retail and trade increased by an average of 17%. Transportation of people and goods increased by 27% due to the increase in air traffic by 119%, and hotel and restaurant services increased their production by 193% due to the international conferences Rwanda hosted this season. Mining production increased by 9%, manufacturing increased by 10%, and construction materials increased by 21%. Production from cash crops, i.e. tea and coffee, increased by 17%, while that of domestic crops decreased by 1% due to poor agricultural production. Yusuf Murangwa, Director General of the National Institute of Statistics of Rwanda, says that this decrease is not excessive because even when there is a high yield, it also causes losses to the farmers.
In order to see that the crop season has been successful, the prices need to increase between 5 and 6%. But when it reaches to 8 or 10%, then it causes other problems. It is where the prices go down a lot, and sometimes the farmers go bankrupt, like when the industries does not do its part or send it abroad. When it goes below zero, the prices goes up.
If you compare the first quarter with the second quarter of this year, in the second quarter, the gross domestic product increased by 7.5%, while in the first quarter, it increased by 7.9%. While this year's goal is that the gross domestic product will increase by 6.5%, this will be determined by the figures for the third quarter of this year. This week, all remaining families in the settlements of Kangondo and Chibiraro located in Nyarutarama will have been relocated to the Busanza modern settlement. Some of the families that moved on Thursday say the reason they had delayed to move is because of unfounded rumors over the quality of their homes.
The relocated families are very happy with the quality of their new homes and call on others not to listen to false rumors.
I am very happy with what I found here after the way people were saying that the window frames are made of plywood and not metal, which is not true at all. They claim the houses are small, but it's quite spacious here. People should just come here and see the homes for themselves and not just listen to what others tell them. This is the first time I'm seeing my house, and it is great. Nothing like the rumors claimed, saying that they do not have the privacy and are noisy, yet there is obviously sufficient soundproofing with these construction materials.
The more than 500 families that were still left at Kangondo and Tiwariro have now started to be relocated to Usanza, and the reactions have been very positive.
When they told us it was time to move, we were very happy about it because these are very nice houses and we are no longer worried about our home collapsing on us while we sleep. They have running water, electricity, and the transportation situation here is very good, not like where we were. The roads are paved and we don't have to struggle with mud during rainy season, as you can see for yourselves.
The difference is like comparing this world to heaven. Back at Kangondo, we were living in a flood zone and everything was constantly humid. When the rains came, the pit latrines would flood and filth would flow everywhere, making the place smell terribly. We were fortunate to be brought here because the houses have indoor plumbing and lighting. These are VIP facilities and everyone should know it, especially those yet to move. They should come as soon as possible because we are very well off here. The street lighting makes night look day. With the rainy seasons now in full swing, those left in high-risk zones of Nyarutarama have no choice but to leave.
Tumaze iminsi tubaha ubutumwa bwo kwimuka mu minsi yashize bagendaga bimuka gake gake.
We have been urging them to move for some time now, and some had started to do so. But they did not seem to realize the urgency until it started to rain. We have now helped close to 700 families to leave, and remaining 600 have also started to pack up, realizing the dire state of their houses after the downpours began. We want all of them in Usanza by Sunday for Mass.
Turifuza ko nibura rwose iki cyumweru bazumvira misa mu Busanza.
More than 700 families are now in the Usanza modern settlement with its paved roads, playgrounds, modern market and apartment blocks.
Thank you, Oli, for that report. And as we move ahead, customers and vendors show that there should be more production from the agriculture sector to satisfy the domestic markets due to the increase in prices, especially for agriculture and livestock products. Adam Squizera has this report.
In different markets across the country, consumers and vendors show their worries about the hike of prices as they request the government to take some measures to make the country more self-sufficient in agriculture and livestock as the market price is rising daily. I'm not supposed to buy potatoes of 500 francs. There is no way I could be earning 2,000 per day, which is equivalent to 4 kilos. We request government to increase efforts in agriculture production. The Executive Secretary of the Organization for Consumers' Rights in Rwanda, ADECO, Damien Dizeye, points out that there are some problems may arise in these price hikes, including economic crisis, hence that the government should take measures, including helping farmers to supply their production to the market. There should be some measures to facilitate the farmers to supply their products at the market. This unconditional hike of price may lead to the economic crisis. It requires the government to put more efforts in setting prices. The Ministry of Industry and Trade indicated the increase of transport fare as one of the reasons for this hike of price, as the Director of Domestic Trade, Karango Kasi, explained. Transport fare is one of the factors leads to low production at the market, as we are conducting an inspection for the market price, where during this inspection, 14 traders were punished, where they were fined about 2.5 million in the last 2 days. The Deputy General in charge of agriculture in RAB notes that the agriculture sector should take sustainable measures, including the use of additional products. We emphasize the farmers to cultivate on every available surface in this season, hence to satisfy the market, as we are working together with the farmers to engage in conservation agriculture, as those are the measures to fight these challenges. According to the statistics from the National Institute of Statistics, the Urban Consumer Price Index was increased by 15.9% on annual basis in August 2022, while Rural Price Index was increased by 23.6% comparing to the previous year. Adam Squizera, RwandaTV News.
Thank you, Adam Squizera, for that report. Now, the Embassy of Angola in Rwanda started the celebration of the 100th anniversary of the founder of the nation, national hero, and the first president of the Republic of Angola, Dr. Antonio Agostinho Neto. The ambassador of Angola to Rwanda states that the great cooperation and good international relations are some of the great lessons and legacy that he left. Prince Manzi has the report.
Dr. Antonio Neto became the first president of Angola from 1975 to 1979 after fighting for independence along with his party. He was a politician and a poet. Until now, some of his poets are still admired. The Republic of Angola decided to celebrate the National Heroes Day on Neto's birthday, the 17th September. The Embassy of Angola in Rwanda is in a 3-day celebration of Neto's 100 birth years. The ambassador of Angola in Rwanda, Eduardo Filomeno Leiro Octavio, states that Neto had a great vision that led to the developed Angola today with strong international relations. Neto had many and different values and vision. He did a lot on his reign, such as uniting Angolans, defeating colonialism, fought for independence of some of Southern African states. He was also against the apartheid in South Africa. As you see on pictures in this room, Neto built strong relations with many countries, especially African countries, and I can say that this is a strong legacy he left. About our partnership with Rwanda, we signed different agreements that we weren't able to do for these past 2 years, but now they are being implemented. Dr. Antonio Agostinho Neto died on the 11th September 1979 in Moscow. Due to his historic activities, many of the institutions, including schools and hospitals, were named after Antonio Agostinho Neto. This celebration event was participated in by the Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Dr. Clementine Mucheka, who emphasized on Neto's legacy and appreciated the friendship and partnership between Angola and Rwanda. The event was also participated in by different officials, including the ambassadors of different nations based in Rwanda. Prince Manzi, RTV News.
And on behalf of the entire news production team, many thanks for joining us on this particular edition of Rwanda Television News. My name is Sam Kadisa.
And mine, Martina Avera. Stay safe.
Until next time,
stay safe.
And have a good night.